So I think we can go on now. We'll try
Hello, sir.
okay, so let me share the
All right, the YouTube.
yes.
All right, sir.
So because we don't know whether your friend will still be coming to the party or she will not as usual.
I know she will get everything on YouTube.
Yeah. I think that's why she's not even bothering. Think maybe okay. Just a little why. I'm trying to log into my WhatsApp app on my system so I can share it there. Okay, while that one is going on. So yesterday we talked about injuries in childcare settings. So talked about the sources of injury. We gave a breakdown of why children get injured in care settings. Of course, we also talked about the types of injury that may likely occur. And we talked about injury based on age groups, or what we call the age gradings. So, and we talked about peculiarity of each age group, their characteristics, and the likely injury they may suffer. So we talked about lead poisoning. We also talked about sleep-induced death syndrome. So then we also talked about shaking baby syndrome, which I dispute to some extent. But then, when children falls and they have traumatic brain injury, TBI, which we try to clarify, we talked about it. And then, of course, we see the need for us to be careful when handling children, how to position them when they are sleeping and the likes. So today we are going to be furthering from where we stopped yesterday. Okay, I think, yes. So let me share the link. So peradventure, your own Zoom also goes off. At least you'll be sure you have. Okay. So you'll be sure you have something that will take care of today's class. So today we are going to be furthering from where we stop. Okay, this is a picture where we can talk about the hazard. So can you unmute and tell us where the hazards, the possible hazards are here in the picture that we have here? You can unmute yourself, please.
Hello.
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, you asked me to unmute.
Yes, I asked you for the possible hazards in this picture. Can you identify the possible hazards?
The electric shock.
Okay.
The wire plug on the floor, the electric wire plug on the floor,
Okay.
the I think the fire is burning, the kitchen, the hot water, the what is it again? The cabinet is open here, everything is just scattered here, it's not well arranged.
Okay.
If baby climb the stove, maybe want to touch the hot water boiling there. So a lot of hazard is there.
So invariably, this picture, everything there is hazard
That's
waiting to happen. Yes, there are accidents waiting to.
love is open.
Yes. Mm,
So the poison is there. You can't take anything, put it in your mouth.
mhm.
A lot of hazard is there.
So invariably, the whole picture is hazard waiting to happen. If you look at this background here, the painting is already cracking and peeling. So that could
Yes,
contain lead. Uh-huh. Then when you look at the flower, the potted plant, there are some plants that if the child puts the leaves in their mouth, their tongue gets swollen. Eh, So that's another one. The baby will try to reach for his toy, invariably touching this handle, and the water comes over, spill over onto the child. The child can trip, the wire is there, can trip through the wire, and then of course the cabinet, the child can enter the cabinet and pull anything from the cabinet. The jug can fall and injure the child, giving him or her a deep cut. The child can open the oven because there's something the child can drag and invariably open the oven and crawl into the oven. That's a danger on its own. This cabinet is also open, which it contains poisons, and the child can of course put it in there. So everything here is accident waiting to happen. Of course, you can see the fry pan with oil already, hot oil on it. So everything there is accident waiting to happen. So now we've talked about a lot of accident. Now we talk about accident due to drowning. So we are going to be looking at drowning as a source of accidents. Now, children between the age of 1 and 4.
Let me mute myself. There's noise there.
Okay, let me help you do that. Okay, good. So children aged between 1 and 4 years are at the greatest risk from drowning. That is, they can drown in water. Like we said, like I said yesterday, I said leaving buckets of water all over the place, full of water. The child can crawl there, see their self, see their image, and try to reach out for, maybe they think it's another child, try to reach out for that child, and invariably fall into the water and they can get drowned. Even a bucket containing only a few inches of water can be dangerous for a small child, depending on the bucket and the size of the child, especially when the child go in head first. Definitely, they are going to take in a lot of water that can lead to hemorrhage and invariably death. So never leave a child alone in or near any body of water. For example, a tub, that's a bathroom tub, toilet, your toilet seats that's why it is invariably good when you have a toilet. Your toilet should have should be something you can lock, especially when you have very small children, age 1 to maybe around 1 to 2. Then buckets of water, swimming pool or wading pool. This one, wading pool, we have it a lot. We have a lot of it around us, especially this rainy season. And that is, some of us don't even care. And these children still go around running up and down the streets. So we should be able to look at how we can mitigate that. Empty buckets and other standing water when not in use. So you should empty buckets and other standing water when you are not using them. Always provide careful, always provide careful, direct, and constant supervision around bodies of water. Enclose water hazards with a fence that is at least 5 feet tall with a self-closing gate that is at least 55-inch high. Now, when we are talking of self-closing gates, these are gates that the moment you open it and you release it, it will close automatically itself, not the one that if you forget to close it, it just remain open and the child can, gain entrance through that kind of door. So bodies of water like ponds, like in Ibadan, we used to have a big body of water, Strabag, that was left unattended for many years until it was fenced. I think it was during the last regime that the fence was erected around that body of water and fenced off. That fencing gave a lot of security. We may not know it. A lot of people have died inside that body of water, and children are around the place. It is actually in the metropole. It is in the heart of town. It is not in a village or somewhere where in a rural setting where you have less people. No, you have plenty of. It's a built-up area. That's actually Adegbayi in Ibadan, and so it's a danger on its own where children and adults, commute daily. So that is one thing that government should also look into. Then we should also, of course, as a community, cover up our pools, our wading pools, all these body of water potholes that are getting big and deep. Even if they are not so deep, we may assume they are not so deep. You know that we have children. If children are let loose the way we train children here, where they can, go about. When you have someone sending a 3 years old to go and buy something, they may invariably fall into that water and they can get drowned. So it is always very, very advisable that we cover up and drain this body of water because obviously they are not serving us any good. Find safe way to play with water. You can see this is a safer way of playing with water. It's a water sprinkler, sprinkling the water and everybody is enjoying it. Unlike, having a pool, invariably the essence is just everybody wants to get wet. So for me personally, I hate the idea of having a pool in your house. We've had a celebrity who had his, uh, I think his or her daughter drowned in water recently in Lagos in their pool. So these are issues. In a saner climb, that parent will go to jail because obviously there's negligence. Don't just leave water unattended. If you have a pool in your house, at least this is what it says. You must have an enclosure. 5 feet, 5 feet tall is almost my height with a gate closing with a self-closing gate. If it is there and you people need to go in there, then of course you open the gate, go in, do your swimming or whatever, and you close it, or it close itself. So the baby or the child will not have access to that area. But you find out that, of course, on Folagio, you find out that these so-called rich people tends to want to like have it all, and at the end of the day, they expose themselves to unnecessary agony. So me, I don't like the idea of having a pool in your backyard unattended. Then young children and disaster. A disaster or an emergency in your child care center or community bring many challenges. Children may be experiencing trauma in the aftermath of the disaster. Of course, when something like that happens within an area, the children there, their memory, they are afraid. If a child fall off a swing and possibly that child died in the process, other children will not want to go on that swing. Or that child get badly injured and stayed in the hospital for weeks or months. The other children will have the trauma and they will not want to go and on that slide or swing again. They want to keep off it. So it is always very difficult to rehabilitate them. The post-traumatic syndrome is always there. So you need to it's very, very harrowing to bring them out of that cocoon to forgetting about the incident. Is always very, very difficult. Then you can lessen the impact if you know what to expect and plan accordingly. So always plan ahead for an emergency. Accidents are incidental unless when they are not. So if you don't plan to cope with an accident, accidents are incidents that happen or wants to happen uninvited. But because possibly you have contingency plan in place, once it happens, you quickly nip it in the bud. But when you leave it to just, I don't control things. The aftermath or the result may be unpalatable for all. After a disaster, keep TV, radio, or adult conversation about disaster at the minimum around wrong. Don't trigger their memory. Don't trigger their memory. Keep it low. Keep your conversation about it very, very low. Not too audible for the children. If a child died in an area and the adults are discussing about it, other children within that community start getting jittery. Adults have a way of getting over traumas quite quickly, but children, traumas stick with them for a long time, and post-traumatic stress is the hardest thing to deal with psychologically in children. Of course, you know that as an educationist. So it's always an issue to deal with post-traumatic stress, especially in children that are abused. So there is always that fear when they see something relating or pretending or giving the image of that danger they faced in the past. So always keep the conversation about it very low around children. Then answer all questions as honestly as possible. A child will come and say, oh Mom, Debbie had an accident. Will Debbie be in the hospital for a long time? Don't say no. Debbie will come home tomorrow. When Debbie is not home tomorrow, that child will come back and ask you again. So it is better to tell the child, yes, possibly Debbie may be away for a while. The doctors are looking at Debbie. They are trying to ensure that Debbie is fine, but Debbie will come home soon. Soon, maybe a week or 2 weeks or a few days or a month. But that is as honest as you can be. Don't say, oh, Debbie will be home tomorrow and Debbie is not home tomorrow. The child come back again. Children have a way of labeling adults as liars. They ask you a question the first time, you give them lies. The second time, you tell them a lie. The third time, they don't trust anything coming from you again. In fact, if a child is bold enough, you tell you lie. You're telling me lies. And of course, there's no way you can tell the child that you are not a liar because, of course, you have lied. Then be prepared to answer the same question over and over again. Like I said, once you don't give an honest answer the first time or the second time, they keep on coming and they keep on coming. And you, of course, you need to understand, John will come, Habi will come, Kenny will come, Shukra will come. Everybody, all of them will come and they will ask you the same question. Don't get tired of answering them and giving them the same answer. And of course, always be reassuring, so that when they go, they discuss. Children, they don't have secrets. They will talk to each other. So when they talk about it, they will reiterate what you have said and re-echo it among themselves. Then after a disaster, try to return to a normal routine as soon as possible to restore sense of normalcy and security, so that the sense of security is there. Don't, if that route that the accident happened through is a normal route, don't barricade it off totally, No, maybe after a few days, just remove the barricade and let people walk in. If a child get drawn in a pool, don't barricade the pool off totally. Drain the water possibly, put in fresh water, then set up a perimeter fence around the pool. And of course, allow other children to still have access properly supervised. But don't just block off or seal off the spoon. You are sending a wrong signal to the children. Even when you block off that area, they will not go there again. So you need to, be careful about it. Then don't promise there won't be another disaster. Instead, encourage children to talk about their feelings. Don't tell them it won't happen again. You tell them such things happen, but we need to learn how to prevent them. And then you tell them how to prevent them and how to keep themselves safe. And you also ensure that you help to keep them safe. Tell them, I'm here to help you. I'm here. If you need help about it, you can come and talk to me about it. If you have any concern, so let them, have an open policy. Let them be able to trust and have trust and confide in you. So the typical reactions following a disaster. These are the typical reactions from age 1 to 5. You can see they can be regressive. They withdraw into themselves. Fear of the dark, fear of animal, fear of monster. If something happened, maybe a child died in a community, the other children will be afraid to sleep at night. They are afraid when you turn off the light. If they've watched a movie that is very, very frightening, they're afraid of the night, they're afraid of the dark, they're afraid of. So you need to reassure them, and you need to, always tell them that you are there. I'm going to leave the lights. You can off the main light and leave a bed lamp on for them and tell them, okay, if you feel comfortable with it, you can off the bed lamp and sleep. But if you don't, you can leave it on. Yorùbá ní tọmọdé bá ń bẹ̀rù òkùnkùn kò yẹ ká bá wí. So if a child is afraid of the dark, we should not reprimand them. It is an adult that is against the light that one needs to be, cautious of. If as an adult you are telling them, no, you can't put the light on. What do you mean? Then we start to question your judgment. The child has a right to fear the dark, but you as an adult does not have any right to discourage them putting on the light. So we need to, be able to, balance it. Then emotional behavior and reaction, they can be nervous, they can be irritable, they can be uncooperative, they become stubborn suddenly because they felt, okay, they may feel because somebody was cooperative, yet they had that accident. So they want to put up a resistance. So you need to tell them, no, it's not always like that. It happens because an accident are bound to happen in life. It's just how you deal with it that makes you stronger. So you need to, encourage them to face challenges of life squarely. So then they can become hyperactive. They can become, they can be shouting. They can become hysteric. So they may become tics. They just become swollen. Then they may start having speech difficulties, anxiety about separation from their parents, possibly because they've been abused while their parents were not there. Then they can have shorter attention, they can have aggressive behavior, they can have exaggeration or distortion of a disaster experience. They don't know how to separate their fantasy from reality. They bring in their own what do you call it, fictions, and mix it with reality, because they won't be able to separate the film they were watching and what really happens. I saw a shadow, and they'll be describing the shadow of a monster that you watch possibly in a movie. So you need to now tell them, no. What you're thinking, that's your imagination. It didn't happen. Then you need to talk to them. Then exaggeration of behavioral problem. Then of course there can be psychological, psychological loss of appetite. Physiological. They may start losing appetite. They may start overreacting. They may start having ingestion problem. They may start vomiting. I remember when I was younger, I don't know, I used to associate anything that is cream or white with milk. So, and because milk used to irritate me when I was sick, once I see white color, when I was sick then, and I take milk, I start vomiting. So once I see anything white, then I start vomiting as well. So they had to like remove most. Once I'm sick, they remove white clothes and every other thing, beddings from the house. So you can see it is there. It's a physiological reaction to a disease previously that I've had. I, I had malaria. I reacted to milk, and it was over and over again. It kept on happening. Then when I got better and I had another bout of malaria afterward, I started reacting to cream color or white color. And once I saw it and I had malaria, I started vomiting. So you can see there was not actually any link between this white color and the malaria, but my body was reacting to that white color as if it was milk. So as if I was going to be giving milk again, and then I start vomiting. So it was an involuntary physiological reaction. So it happens. Then of course bowel or bladder problem. This bowel or bladder, you can see a child with may start urinating when they are afraid to a point. They just start peeing on themselves. So it's as a result of fear. When they are scared, they may start peeing. At times, some child, when they are scared, they start vomiting, some start pooing. So it depends. So sleep disorder and nightmares as a result of uh and all this thing is a hormonal. It is the hormone that tune them for fright. The adrenaline that starts to react this way. When we go into the chemistry of it, the biochemistry of fear. Yeah, some people study that as a course, biochemistry of fear. So it has its own biochemistry, the hormonal changes that occur when someone is afraid. And then we have uh, biochemistry of fight. When somebody become too bold, like, but he saw that they are shooting there and he's still emboldened is because their physiology has been toned not to respond to fear. So they become fearless to a point where it becomes, how do I put it? It becomes dumb. It becomes stupid. You see, they start to exercise some stupid, fearless attitude. Someone dragging a gun with a police is as a result of possibly a trauma they've seen before. And they felt, before he shoot the gun, let me attack him first. And it got to a point where their body, their response normally is that I will kill the police first before the police can shoot the gun. So it is, you see it like it's a senseless uh, courage, but it is their physiology that has been toned to respond that way. It could be that maybe their parents was shot in their presence, and so their brain is wired to attack anyone who holds a gun and cock it at them. So they don't want to know whether that person is going to fire it or not. They are, wired to react that way. So an hormonal wiring. Is conditioned. They've been conditioned physiologically as a result of some psychological experience, and their physiology is conditioned to react that way. So how to help? Give additional verbal assurance and ample physical comforting. Provide comforting bedtime routines like storytelling and the likes, watching movies, giving them some snacks before they go to bed, give them warm milk might help. Then permit the child to sleep in the parents' room on a temporary basis. If a child is like, Daddy, I'm afraid, they want to sleep between their parents, they feel, okay, sleeping in between their parents gives some sense of, in quote, some sense of, okay, assurance. Uh, Monster cannot come and Grouchy cannot get me here, that kind of things. Then encourage expression of emotion through play activities, including drawing, dramatic play, or telling stories about their experience. They start to, tell you how they felt or how they are feeling. And so you'll be able to deal with the situation, not that the one that they will bottle it up and you don't know what is actually happening in their mind, what is going on in their mind. Then resume normal routine as soon as possible. Like we said, ensure that normalcy return as soon as possible. Don't condone off the area so that the experience can be quickly put behind everyone. Child passenger safety. Children under 2 years of age ride in a rear facing, okay, riding in a rear facing car seat, ride in a rear facing car seat unless the child weigh 40 or more pounds or inches tall. The child shall be secured in a manner that complies with height and weight limits specified by the manufacturer of the car seat. So if the car seat has height and weight limit, it's not that you just buy one for 1 feet or no, don't do a 1 feet or. Check with the manufacturer before you buy. And thank God these days we can make a lot of research about what we are buying before we even buy them. So when we get what we need, we should get what we actually need. So not the one that we don't really need, and then we get them, and then we find out later that they don't suit the situation. So children under the age of 8 must be secured in a car seat or booster seat in the back. Children who are 8 years or older or have reached about 4 feet 9 inches in height, that's a good height. That's the average height of some short individual who are adults. In height must be secured by, oh, sorry, that's not centimeter, that's inches, by a safety belt. Passenger who are 16 years of age and over are subject to, so anybody that is 16 years of age or older, forget that one. In Nigeria, anybody that's above 12 will be as tall as some of their parents, so they should be able to use the car seat. So this is an example of a child seat. But if you look at this child seat, you can see that that child is almost as big as the seat, as the seat itself. So it's almost like, no, this child is too big for this seat. So you look at appropriate seat for appropriate child's height and weight. In and around car, teach children to never play in, on, or around the cars. Because like I said, they can close the door on themselves. They can, we've had cases. I don't know if you've seen the video of a child who lied under the car, and the car actually passed over the child. They went under. I've seen samples like that in places where I've lived, where a child went to go and, stay near the door, I mean the tire under the car, especially with cars that have big tires, the Jeeps and the trucks. The child can actually go and stay under the vehicle. So don't encourage them to play around in or on the vehicle. Tell them don't go near. Then never leave a child unattended in a vehicle, even when the window is slightly open, because they may, unknowingly wind up the window and suffocate themselves. Always lock vehicle doors and trunk, especially at home, so that they don't get access to going into it. Keep keys and remote entries device out of children's reach. Watch children closely around vehicles. Make sure children leave the vehicle when you reach your destination, especially sleeping infants. Take them out of and take them to a crib immediately. Then be careful when dropping off children at a care provider if it is not part of your normal routine. Place something you will need, for example, a purse or brief, or on the floor of the back seat because they want to play with it. Child care provider should follow up if a child is unexpectedly absence. Ask why the child is not there. Then walk all the way around your parked vehicle to check for your children before getting in and starting the car. Like I said, they may actually go under the vehicle. So walk around, see the vehicle, check everything. Then make sure children are always accompanied by an adult when getting in and out of a vehicle so that they'll make sure that they are safely out of harm's way. Firmly hold the hand of children when walking near moving vehicle. And of course, when you are walking on the street, even when you are walking on the street, hold your child away from the vehicular movement. Some adults, I just don't understand why a mother or a father will put their children in the same path as an oncoming vehicle. It doesn't make sense. Put them away, put them on the side where they will, at least if there's anything, you'll be able to, save them, not where they will be. And before you can say Jack Robinson, they'll be knocked off your grip by a moving vehicle. It doesn't make sense. Then identify and use safe area for children to play away from parked or moving vehicle. Designate a safe spot for children to go when vehicles are about to move. So field trip safety. Field trip with young children provide wonderful learning opportunities that enrich and extend your curriculum. With careful planning, adequate supervision, and a spirit of adventure, adults and children can safely enjoy outings. So ensure that your outings, when they go on their field trips, excursion and the likes, it needs careful planning, and of course, it also enrich and extend their curriculum. So when you take them out to see the sites, if you are teaching geography and you are teaching geography in abstract and the child have not seen a mountain before, he's just looking at a mountain in a book. But when you go there, when you are doing hiking, you need to be very careful. There are certain age where the child is not permissible to go mountain hiking, so because of safety issues. So make sure everything is safe and safe and safe. Then research your destination, make sure it is child friendly, make sure it is somewhere the child can enjoy. You don't go and carry a child and take them into a jungle full of snakes, crocodiles, lizards, and of course, harmful animal, and you say you are going on an adventure. Obtain written consent. If you want them to see a lion, take them to the zoo. Don't go and take them to, of course, if they are of certain age, you can take them to the safari to actually look at how a lion is in a safe setting. They have vehicles that are shielded from the attack of lion. Obtain written consent. Be sure you know how to reach the families in case of an emergency. Make sure that, in case it is a school, ensure, now you that work in the ministry, this is one of the things you may need to do while you are still around with us. Let the ministry put up a policy that ensure that each schools, before they go on all these, what did they even call it? Excursions, they have a written permission from parents or guardians permitting the release of their wards or children, so that, and then of course you have contact details, emergency contact details. In case there's an emergency, you can quickly contact them. Of course. Then arrange for adequate supervision. If you are going for, per child, don't give more than 10 child. That's the maximum. 5 is adequate. 5 is the acceptable, adequate number per adults, 5 number of children per adult. So if you are going to have like 100 students, at least let there be a minimum of about 15 teachers with you, so that if you need to be running around to gather the children, it won't be too much of a bother. But when you have like 100 children and you have like just maybe 5 teachers watching all of it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Then of course, when you do this, your excursion, when they do their excursion, you can invite the parents to join in, so that it gives more safe feelings. And you can make your excursion a family excursion where both the children and the parents can participate in for recreational and educational purposes. Okay, I've talked about that. So there are, of course, regulations that one needs to follow with that. Then prepare a roster with names of participating children. Pack a first aid kit, medication. When you have children with special needs and special health care, maybe children who needs to, get insulin, who needs to get some, and there are certain children who are maybe seasick. If you are going on the water, you give them pyrimethamine. And of course, those who are road sick, you give them pyrimethamine. The pyrimethamine is your chlorampheniramine, pyrimethamine. This, what do you call it? Some call it Sunday, and some call it. You can also give them the common Piriton. Then follow up. Just it's not going to be the normal dose. Just maybe if they normally take 1 tab, you may break it into 4 and give them a quarter. Then, of course, they'll be okay. Follow child passenger law for travel by car or van. Always supervise young children in and around school bus. Teach children to, bus safety. Stand at least 3 giant steps back from the curbs as the bus approaches. I found this very interesting. When I used to travel by train to Lagos, and I would be like, are these people okay? Why you see parents who just let their children wander about at the train park, at the train station. It's crazy, because there are these yellow lines or orange lines, and nobody should go beyond that orange line. Let them know, stand behind the orange line and stay some feet behind the orange line, because a train is approaching. And you don't even play with a train, not to even talk. And with a bus, talk less of a train. So then, of course, tell them stand safely on the curb, some meters away from where the bus will park. Board the bus one at a time, no rush. Use handrail when getting on or off the bus for safety and support. Wait for the bus to come to a complete stop before getting off. Don't do this Lagos Agbero style that you just jump off a moving vehicle. It's not ideal. They do a lot of things that is not ideal in this country. Never to walk behind the bus. Don't walk behind the bus, because it might reverse and may not see you. So, one of the things we should also teach our children is, if you enter any vehicle, the moment it parks, be it a bike, a bus, a tricycle, a car, the moment it parks, and possibly you need to, get your change from the driver or the rider, move to the safer right side, not to the left side, because the left side will throw you into the road. Move to the safer right side, which is off the road, and then negotiate for your change and get your change from the rider, the driver, or as the case may be. Then injury prevention policies and routine. So what are the topics? Active supervisions, regular safety checks inside and outside of your care home, Safe playground habits. Always ensure that you have and encourage safe playground habits. Safety routines, fire drill, rollover, and the likes, and behavior management. Then back injury among provider, always have policies that prevent back injury. You know, uh, no lifting of heavy objects. Then any heavy object should be hoisted and should be carried with a trolley. Then forms and checks and checklists. Always ensure that you have adequate forms and checklists in place. Active supervision strategy. Step up your space so that it is free of clutters. Set up your space so that it's free of clutters and you have easy access to the children. So don't clutter the place with unnecessary load. Yorùbá sọ wípé àìlámojú kúrò ni ló mú ẹrù wèrè ló mú kó pọ̀. So it is because a madman does not overlook things. That's why he gathers too much load. Position yourself so you can see and hear every child and quickly respond if necessary. Scan and count. Make sure that you do a head count every 10 minutes. Just scan. Okay, how many of them? Okay, we have 20 here. What's happening? Where's Cherry? So you quickly look for them. It's not like you just leave them unattended. Listen for sound of potential danger or warning. Maybe you listening, maybe something like a blast, like over there, you have shooters. It's a common thing. Immediately you hear gunshots, quickly mobilize the children into a safe place. Then anticipate children's behavior. So you are aware when they might do something dangerous. When you look at a child that is trying to, climb a swing the wrong way, or they are talking frantically at each other, and one is getting, agitated and is trying to reach for something on the floor. This one may eat, the other one with that thing. You quickly call their attention by calling their name, and so they freeze in the action and possibly stop midway before the action is effected. Pay attention to when children are unable to solve problem on their own. When they get irritated, when they get agitated, you need to step in and help them. Regular safety checks inside and out, examining the door, the indoor, the outdoor environment of safety hazard, prevent hazard. So for safety hazard, prevent hazard from happening, it prevents accident. Then modifying an environment for children's safety is sometimes called child proofing. You can never be too careful. Like I said yesterday, child care is no child play. So child proofing does not make the environment 100% safe or replace supervision, but at least it makes it to some extent safe. But you still need to supervise them. So you need to supervise them. And of course, a combination of the three will ensure that you have a safe environment. Examine your indoor and outdoor or safety hazard so that you can prevent the hazard from happening. Modify your environment for child safety. If you have a stair and you have a baby, you can put a gate at the top and at the bottom of the stair, and it should have a lock. Then if you have a pool, you can fence the pool, and then you put a self-closing gate. These are kind of some of the things you do in and out. The staircase is inside while the pool is outside. So inside and outside help identify hazard, and then modify your environment to help in reducing those hazards. Is called child proofing, and of course then supervision will also help. Always supervise your children, don't leave them unattended. Then safety routine and behavior management. Establish written policies for your child care environment. Include guidelines, checklists, and assignments. Provide active supervision at all times. Monitor children's behavior. Teach children injury preventive behavior and safety rules. don't play with sharp object, don't put something in your nose, don't put a sharp object in your hair, don't put object in your hair, don't put anything that is not yours in your mouth. Object as a drop on the floor should not be picked up and put in the mouth. These are things we do. We teach the children. These are what we call injury preventive behavior that helps to safeguard them. So then adapt your environment to the developmental need of the children. Adapt your environment as the age of the children demands. Make it as suitable for them as possible. Like we have talked about the car seat. Car seat is an adaptation of the environment, which is your car, for a child safety. So, and then when you are buying the appropriate car seat for them, it is also child safety. When you buy helmet for your child who wants to be, riding a bicycle, and you pad their shoulder, their elbows, and then their knees, it is also called child proofing and child safety. Then health and safety checks. Use checklists to conduct safety. You have a checklist. Look at what you have. It's called auditing. So audit yourself. So use a checklist to conduct safety checks of outdoor areas. Okay, this check, that check, this one not available. Then you make comment to provide. You put a timeline. Who's going to be responsible? All those things needs to be done, and that is why we call in my field we call it quality management. It's part of quality assessment. So on a regular scheduled basis, of course, there will be quality check. People who come to do quality checks in your care home. So you do your internal audit before an external auditor comes in to audit you for safety checks and the likes. Then build safety checks into your daily, weekly, and monthly schedules. Health and safety checklist. You can find this checklist here on this sites. So back injury prevention for staff. How do you prevent back injury prevention for staff? Back injury are the most common injury among child care provider. Good body mechanism, good body mechanics, and proper lifting techniques will help to keep your back healthy. Like I said, when you need to lift off a object, always squat to the level of the object and carry the object. If the object is above half of your weight, don't try and lift it. Just try and use a oyster to hoist it. A oyster is like a pulley system. Pulley makes things easier to carry. So then, of course, use a trolley if you need to push it, move it from one point to another. Back injuries can occur: lifting of children toy equipment, etc., heights of furniture, e.g. the child size table and chair, lowering and lifting children in and out of cribs, preventing a frequent sitting on the floor with your back unsupported. Okay, let me rest my back a bit too. Then excessive reaching above shoulder height to obtain store supplies. When you need to, like, you are tiptoeing, it is not advisable. It's not advisable when you have to tiptoe, standing on your toes to reach out for something, or stretching beyond your arm's limit. Then awkward positions and forceful motions needed to open windows. Carrying garbage or diaper bags to dumpster. Protect your bag. So you can see how we need to protect our bags. So this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong, this is right. So to the screen, the left of your screen, you see the one that are wrong, and you see how to do it right. Then this is wrong, and then this is right. So you can read more on that here. And that is the end of the module. Thank you for listening. Questions, clarification, addition. I hope you can hear me. You can unmute yourself now. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you're already out, Self.
Is that what?
I said you're already out.
Yes, I'm already out. I wanted to buy something in the junction.
So I hope you followed through.
Of course, yes. I'm
So,
following.
okay, good.
We
Anyway, we
stop
have
at,
it recorded.
back injury, how to prevent back injury.
Good, good, good.
Yes.
So, anything you want to add? Any comments?
I don't know. You said any addition, any question will be at the end of everything. Don't worry, I'm
Okay.
compiling my questions. At the end
No,
of the lesson, I will ask my questions.
no, wala. We'll be
Yes,
more
sir.
than glad to answer those questions.
Yes, sir.
All right, ma.
But it's not yet
So,
2 o'clock now.
eh, I don't, because the other module is just very small,
Is it
and I don't want to
one?
stress you.
Okay, well,
I don't want to stress you. The other module is just like 40 pages,
okay.
the last
All right.
module. So I don't
No
know.
problem. Thank you, sir.
We can, if you are free tomorrow, we can take it tomorrow and just
Okay,
finish
sir.
with it.
If I'm free, when I'm free, I will let you know.
Please do. Please do.
All right.
We are through with it.
Thank you, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right. So that you
Have
can
a
go and
good
prepare for your outing.
have
And you too.
you. Thank you.
All right, ma.
Yes, sir. Thank
Have a
you.
nice